Virtue ethics is a moral philosophy that focuses on developing good character traits rather than simply following rules or evaluating consequences. It argues that ethical behaviour comes from cultivating virtues such as honesty, courage, and kindness, which shape a person's actions and decisions over time. Instead of asking, "What is the right thing to do?" virtue ethics asks, "What kind of person should I be?" A virtuous person naturally makes ethical choices because they have developed good moral habits. Unlike other ethical theories that focus on individual actions, virtue ethics emphasizes long-term character development. Now let's explore the origins of this idea. Virtue ethics has its roots in ancient Greek philosophy, particularly in the works of Aristotle. In his book Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle argued that the goal of human life is to achieve eudaimonia, or a flourishing and fulfilling life, through the practice of virtues. He identified two types of virtues: moral virtues such as courage and generosity, and intellectual virtues such as wisdom and understanding. Other philosophers, including Plato and the Stoics, also contributed to virtue ethics, each with different views on how virtues should be developed. Over time, virtue ethics has influenced various moral traditions and continues to be a major ethical framework today. Now let's look at some examples of virtue ethics in practice. One example of virtue ethics is the practice of honesty. A virtuous person does not simply tell the truth because it is a rule, but because they have developed honesty as a part of their character. Another example is courage, where a person facing a difficult situation does not act out of fear or recklessness, but finds a balanced response based on wisdom and experience. In professional settings, a doctor who consistently shows compassion and integrity is demonstrating virtue ethics by prioritizing moral character over mere duty. These examples illustrate how virtue ethics emphasizes moral development over strict rules. Now let's consider some strengths of this approach. One strength of virtue ethics is that it focuses on long-term character growth rather than just individual decisions, making it a more holistic approach to morality. It also allows for flexibility, as it encourages people to develop good judgment rather than follow rigid rules that may not fit every situation. Another advantage is that virtue ethics emphasizes personal responsibility, encouraging individuals to reflect on their actions and strive to improve over time. Additionally, because it focuses on moral character, it helps create ethical communities where virtues such as kindness and fairness are valued. Now, let's examine some weaknesses of this approach. One weakness of virtue ethics is that it does not provide clear guidelines for solving ethical dilemmas. Unlike rule-based ethical systems, which give specific instructions, virtue ethics relies on personal judgment, which can lead to different interpretations of what is right. Another challenge is that virtues can sometimes conflict. For example, honesty and kindness may not always align in certain situations, making it difficult to determine the best course of action. Additionally, critics argue that virtue ethics depends too much on cultural values, meaning that different societies may have different ideas about what constitutes a virtuous life. Despite these challenges, other ethical theories offer alternative approaches to moral reasoning. An alternative to virtue ethics is deontological ethics, which focuses on following moral rules or duties rather than developing character traits. Deontologists believe that actions are right or wrong based on universal moral principles, regardless of personal character. Another alternative is utilitarianism, which judges actions based on their consequences and seeks to maximize overall happiness. Unlike virtue ethics, which emphasizes internal character development, these approaches provide more concrete guidelines for decision-making. While each ethical theory has its strengths, virtue ethics remains important for its focus on personal growth and moral excellence.